Today we will talk about the humanistic model. The humanistic model focuses on the individual and is also referred to as client-centered or person-centered psychology. The key characteristics of the model are empathy, which establishes rapport with the client by demonstrating a desire to affiliate with the client's ways of experiencing the world. Genuineness, which requires the therapist to be authentic, honest, and sincere in the relationship with the client. This requires the therapist's words, body language, voice quality, and facial expressions to be congruent to one another. And lastly, non judgmental caring, which refers to the therapist's attitude of complete, uncensored acceptance of the client as a person. The central concept of humanistic model is self-actualization. Self-actualization was developed by Maslow and raises the self to the highest level of personal development and accomplishment. The client-practitioner relationship is considered as a nurturing environment that facilitates personal change within the client. The relationship is often seen as a therapeutic alliance where the relationship is built on the alliance of trust, care, and respect for one another. Attention to human experience. Humanist focuses on the client as a whole and their experiences. Relies on the concept of self, which Abraham and Morrison, 1976, refers as a patterns of perception and or values that are experiences as I or me, as cited in Hill 2001, page 113. The idea of self is crucial to the humanistic model. Ideally, they should hold themselves in high regard, allowing their presentation to self to reflect their sense of high regard. The clients are also to help the client to move from an external to internal locus of evaluation. The goal of humanistic model places emphasis on the conceptualization of human nature which seeks for the full potential of the individual. This allows for clients to become more independent and self-referencing. A centered goal for the counselor is to allow clients to facilitate internal change that will produce external change. Another technique that helps more congruence between their current self and ideal self is through non-directive counseling. Non-directive counseling allows the clients to become the expert, while the practitioner supports the discussion. This type of counseling focuses on the here and now. Some physical techniques involve reflection, which are the verbal recounting of what the client is saying, and mirroring of the client's body language, which helps demonstrates empathy of the client's current condition. The humanistic focus is on the total sporting experience, which is selected by conceptualization of emotional arousal and their experiences. Two conceptualizations of emotional arousal that employ humanistic principles are Carr's reversal therapy, which views arousal as the degree to which an individual feels him or herself to be worked up or emotionally intense about what one is doing. After 1989, as cited in Hill, 2001, page 125. Psychologists who have studied the reversal theory suggest that successful performance is characterized by high levels of felt arousal which are experienced by the performers as positive, pleasant, and non-stressful. Kerr, 1997, as cited in Hills, 2001, page 125. Another model is Haynes, 1994, individual zones of optimal functioning, which focuses on optimal performance of the individual. They propose that each individual experiences optimal performance at different levels of arousal. Hayden's models explores the personal experience of the athletes rather than generalizes athletes in a group. Athletes expresses these optimal performance experiences as being in the zone, which is defined by peak performance, peak experience, and flow. Peak performance is defined as behavior in any activity that transcends what normally could be expected in the situation, requires full focus on the task, high level of functioning rather than a type of experience. Privet and Bundrick, 1987, as cited in Hill, 2001, page 125. Privet, 1981, characterizes peak performance as clean focus on the task, intrinsic interest in or fascination with succeeding at the task, intentionality, self-absorbed involvement, spontaneity, and superior performance. Peak experience is defined as a subjective experience of what is subjectively recognized to be one of the high points of life, one of the most exciting, rich, and fulfilling experience which the person has ever had. Can be described as an emotional or spiritual high point. Athletes do not have to experience peak performance to feel a peak experience. Privet and Bundrick, 1987, model of feeling and performance is defined by the horizontal scale as an affective or feeling scale, and the horizontal scale, which is the performance scale. Flow is described by Jackson and Kristvint Mihaly, 1999, as a state of consciousness where one becomes totally absorbed in what one is doing to the exclusion of all other thoughts and emotions, as cited in Hill, 2001, page 133. Flow is about focus and feeling that nothing else around you matters but what you are currently doing. The experience of flow is like an out of body experience where everything comes together without having to think about what you are doing. The importance of flow derives on both pleasure and gratification of the task. Jackson and Mihaly identified 9 components of flow. Challenge skill balance, which suggests that the athlete has the tools and skills for success and being able to push their personal limits. Action awareness merging which explains that the mind and body are in unity and are working as one together. Clear goals, which allows the athlete to devote attention to the confidence that they know what they are doing. Unambiguous feedback, which means that athletes cannot achieve their goals without objective, concrete feedback. Concentration on the immediate task suggests that the athlete is only focused on the task at hand and does not pay attention to other external stimuli. Sense of control means that the athlete feels in control of their actions and their efforts will produce the results they desire to achieve. Loss of self-consciousness, which explains an out-of-body experience being lost in their own actions of that task. And transformation of time suggests that a distortion of time and autoelic experience which produces the enjoyment of activity. My criticism for this project is the positive, which are great for getting clients involved with the therapeutic process with non-directive counseling, focuses on the client's experiences in sports, practitioner gets a better understanding of the client, provides a greater insight on behaviors, and makes the clients feel more human. The negatives, however, is that it requires experience in guiding the discussion of therapy, relies on the client to come to conclusion of what they should do. Client is the expert, and does not provide explanation of client's problems. Last thoughts. I think that the humanistic model is a great way to gain insight on behaviors and allowing athletes to become a part of the therapeutic process. But I think that this is a case-by-case model and it's not one-size-fits-all. I think I would love to use humanistic model for focusing on person-centered therapy, but I think it should be also accompanied by other techniques to provide explanation. I think a humanistic view would be a great way to access for assessment of the issues of the client.